Good morning. My name is Elaine, your new Occupational Health and Safety Advisor in Coppermine. Today, I am here to discuss the government inspection results conducted in the mine and some specific concerns I have noted. I will also present the significance of these results in connection to occupational health and safety legislation and the best practice principle in Alberta. Moreover, to recommend the need for an industrial hygienist in our company to help us handle the hazards successfully. In this presentation, I will review the current state of the company and specific concerns I have observed. Also, I will explain what silica is and how hazardous is it, and its exposure limits and associated notations. The potential source of workers' exposure in drilling and blasting mine will also be discussed. What are the legislation requirements when working with silica? Lastly, my proposal to have an industrial hygienist in our company to manage the hazards. As we all know, our company had been shut down due to poor health and safety management. Now that we are reopening, we don't want that to happen again. Based from the inspection ordered by the government, we are facing some issues concerning airborne exposure. First, the workers' overexposure to silica is very high compared to the legislation in Alberta. Second, 51% of the dust particles found in the site are very small in size that it can get through the lungs directly. Third, our workers are not fully protected due to poor respirator and lack of ventilation system. In fact, many workers are showing signs and symptoms of respiratory disease which likely caused by inhaling this dust over the 15 years in the worksite. Occupational Health and Safety Alberta Legislation Act in Part 1 explains that it is the employer's obligation to protect their workers from any hazard in the workplace, and to comply with this Alberta legislation, we need to address these concerns effectively. Also, Part 4 of the Occupational Health and Safety Code says that employers should keep the exposure limit of silica as low as reasonably practicable. Meanwhile, what is silica and where can you find it? According to Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety, silica, also known as crystalline silica, quartz, or silicon dioxide, is a solid in nature. It is an odorless and colorless crystal. Carex Canada states that occupational exposure to silica is widely used in construction, mining, and manufacturing industries. Since silica is present in soil, sands, and rocks, work processes like grinding, drilling, and blasting increases the worker's exposure to silica dust through inhalation. Reid states that silica is a chemical compound when silicon is exposed to oxygen. Thus, it is classified as a chemical hazard. Alberta Legislation Code concedes that this chemical is considered a suspected human carcinogen or A2. This means that the number of results in human studies are good enough to classify the agent as an agent causing cancer. Additionally, American Conference of Governmental Industrial Hygienists explains that the size of silica present in the air is way too small that it can reach the lung regions directly and cause adverse health effects. Alberta Legislation Code Schedule 1, Table 2 shows the occupational exposure limit of silica is 0.025 mg per cubic meter of inhaled air. To explain, a worker's average exposure to silica dust should not exceed to 0.025 mg per cubic meter in an 8-hour work period. Also, according to ACGIH, symptoms of overexposure to silica are pulmonary fibrosis or damaged and scarred lungs, as well as lung cancer. Carex Canada reports that workers' exposure to silica is found in mining industry. Processes like making holes into a rock mass or cold drilling, blasting or using of explosive to break a rock, crushing and grinding where rocks are being processed mechanically to reduce the size, loading of rocks and extraction of rocks from the pit are also source of silica exposure. According to Carex Canada, these mining processes contribute to the release of very small size of silica dust where workers are exposed. Carex Canada also reports that inhalation is the most common route of silica dust exposure. Thus, chronic respiratory diseases are common among workers in mining industry. Occupational Safety and Health Administration states that inhalation of crystalline silica dust can cause silicosis. Since silica dust is very small in size, it enters the lung and causes damage and scarring of the lung tissue, which make it harder for the lungs to take in oxygen. OSHA also reports that silicosis occurs after 15 to 20 years of occupational exposure to small size or respirable crystalline silica. The worker shows signs and symptoms of fatigue, extreme shortness of breath, chest pain, or respiratory failure. OSHA added that silica can cause the immune system to decline, resulting to risk of infection for the lung, like tuberculosis. Moreover, according to OSHA, there's some instance that workers who are exposed to high concentration of silica will manifest symptoms of silicosis in few weeks' time. Additionally, Carex Canada states that workers' exposure to respirable crystalline silica can escalate a growing lung cancer. OSHA explains that lung cancer affects the function of the lung and it can spread to the rest of the body. OSHA also includes chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or COPD as one result of silica exposure. One symptom of COPD is shortness of breath. OSHA added that high silica exposure can also cause kidney failure to the workers. Why is the need for an industrial hygienist in our team? Australian Institute of Occupational Hygienists emphasizes that industrial hygienist secures the workers' health and safety from existing and potential hazards in the workplace through carefully assessment in implementing of controls. When workers feel they are protected, they will be more committed to stay in the company. Thus, it will increase productivity. Also, AIOH states that industrial hygienist helps the company to set a strong safety culture. Being said, it saves healthcare expenses coming from disability claim and injury rates. Lastly, having an IH in the team will make the company more recognizable in the industry like clients, investors, and potential employees. They will regard our company as an organization who values the importance of safety and hygienic workplace. To achieve these results, having an industrial hygienist in the team is necessary. Apart from that, an industrial hygienist graduates from a college or university with a degree in engineering, chemistry, physics, mathematics, or biological sciences. They are thoroughly trained to anticipate and recognize health hazards and their effects to human health. Subsequently, they evaluate and control this hazard with the help of measurement methods or methodology. Furthermore, Schedule 1, Table 1 of the OHS Legislation Code states that silica and its processes require code of practice. This code of practice includes the storage, handling, use, and disposal of silica excess in the workplace. Also, it includes the action how to prevent and what to do if there's an uncontrolled release of silica. Part 1 of Alberta Legislation Code discusses that it is the duty of employer to provide a safe work environment for the workers and keeping them safe from any hazards. Since industrial hygienists have the adequate education and training to deal and prevent occupational hazards, they can help our company to have a well-managed code of practice, as well to eliminate and control the hazards we are facing now. In conclusion, copper mine is in a very poor safety condition. Silica dust levels are very alarming and signs and symptoms of respiratory disease show that workers are affected already. In view of the Alberta Legislation Code, copper mine needs to have a code of practice to comply with it. With the help of an industrial hygienist, surely the health hazards will be managed accordingly. In return, copper mine will be back with an improved, safe, and hygienic workplace. Finally, it is a great opportunity for us to reopen copper mine with a safe and hygienic practices for everyone.